Hello, everybody, and welcome. Today, I have a very special guest named Lorraine, and she's an RN, and her career is a transformational coach, and she is such a powerhouse. And I'm just happy and thrilled that she is here, and I'm humbled and I'm honored that she is here, and I just can't wait for her to share her wonderful, amazing journey through her resilience, healing through her shadow and coming out like she is just a powerhouse, like I said. And with that, I'm going to introduce her. And Lorraine is an RN and a life coach that has spent her personal and professional life empowering others. She has spent over 40 years studying and experiencing various healing modalities, contemporary and ancient alike. All her life has been centered around personal and spiritual development and the knowing that one can thrive through this healing journey called life by remembering the truth of who we truly are. Resilience has been the result of Lorraine's healing journey. Her most powerful has been through opening her heart and loving her way back home. This has transformed her life in so many ways. It's transformed her life beyond her wildest expectations, thriving and expanding in her greatest expression and is everyone's birthright. Lorraine truly believes we are here to shine our light and to rise to heights never expressed before. This is a time of great awakening for individuals, but for humanity at large. These are the exciting times, and the world needs our gifts, our loving heart, and healing hands. Lorraine wants to share her story of resilience to inspire women, young and old, to embark on the loving journey back home to oneself. The joy and the strength, the wisdom and the peace of this journey will radiate beyond yourself and into the lives of those you love and cross paths with, like an overflowing cup of blessings. Yes, that's everyone's birthright. And Lorraine wants this to be true for each and every one of you as well. Welcome, Lorraine.
Welcome. Thank you. Yeah. What a beautiful introduction. It kind of summarizes my journey up to today. It's been indeed a journey of challenges, overcoming trauma. I, as a child, was and still am a highly sensitive person. Therefore, living at a very intense emotional frequency, what I witness, what I hear, and what I see, and what I'm surrounded with. And I grew up in a family of 13 children, so we were 15 in our home. And I can say to this day, each and every one is a beautiful, loving person. But as we grew up, it was extremely tumultuous, conciliate the needs of 15 people and how to educate each and everyone to have gracious communication, loving and supportive behaviors to one another. My parents did what their best. So there was a lot of conflict, and obviously, it, sharing the way to express yourself, we were not really taught ways of being open, of being kind, actually. So there was a lot of conflict, and as a child, that really had me um, a lot of uh, lack of self confidence. I would say a lot of self doubt. Um, Music is a little bit loud right now, Raven, on my side, anyways. It's
Okay,
sounding
hold a second.
okay, great. Yeah. So it kind of set me up with all these challenges in my youth. There was like a lot of families that have dysfunctions, and a lot of families are dysfunction. There's attachment issues with the parents if you don't have the proper attachment when you're a child, and that creates a lot of anxiety. In myself, I had a lot of anxiety as a child. I also had some depression episodes throughout my youth, but also my adult life that I've only come to understand recently, actually, where they were actually coming from. Um, yeah, interestingly enough, one of my brothers passed away about a month ago, and our family, of course, had to come together. And there was a lot of fear and concern for some of my siblings as to are we going to be able to come together in a place of harmony and peace and be able to celebrate my brother's passing. And it turned out to be a beautiful, beautiful blessing, a new baseline for my family. I know many of us were praying for that opportunity to honor my brother and to come in peace and harmony with one another. And I do have to say, this is like the first time in my life that I was able to witness all of us coming together and really showing some vulnerability, some kindness and loving compassion towards one another, really being able to support and care. And it was just a balm on my heart. And to be able to also witness so many friends testifying to my brother's beautiful, generous soul, that was really, really inspiring and very moving as well. So, what I'm referring to is no matter what we've been through, the trauma that we've been through as children, whether that's verbal, psychological, emotional, physical, sexual abuse, and more, we can, as adults, we can choose a better life and we can heal each and every wound that we've been through. And I've had my fair share. As I was saying, when I grew up, um, because, because of the setting, I was very anxious and I was very afraid. I I thought as I grew up that I had like two options, basically get a career and raise a large family like my mother, like my parents did, which I did. But in the aftermath, I see that that wasn't a decision made from a mature point of view, a healed point of view. It was a decision that's all I knew at the time, and that's what I did, and I did my best. In this relationship, we had five beautiful children. The relationship ended into a divorce, and I basically raised my five children on my own. That was a very difficult period as well because there was little support from my partner who had his story and his difficulties and his inabilities to come forth as a father and to be supportive of his children. Um, and of course, this is a dance, right? So I went through the grieving process. There's 5 stages to this grieving process where at first we deny the existence, and then we feel angry, and then we feel depressed, and then we feel like we're going to negotiate something, and then we move to acceptance. And this dance happens in all losses that we have to face, all of them. And they don't necessarily follow that sequence, and we can stay stuck in a sequence for a while. And I was very angry for a very long time, feeling unsupported. It took me a while to forgive and to move on to the acceptance that in certain ways, he modeled some beautiful things to my children, and in other ways, they were not. Um, and when people live through trauma, if they're unaware that there are solutions to help them out, what happens is it's hard to face. It's hard to be with the pain. And people will seek self soothing, self medicating. People will often turn to addictions, and that can be sexual addiction, that can be drug, that can be alcohol, that can be social media, that can be gambling, you name it. Like anything that is a compulsive propensity to just cover the pain and run away from it. And we've all done some of that to some extent, maybe a little bit, maybe a lot. That's just your way of saying it's too much for me to deal with this. I'm too afraid. I don't know how I'm going to do it. And it's kind of a normal response, but I do want you to know that you don't have to stay with there. You don't have to be with that pain on your own and try to just numb it out, because eventually what one comes to realize is that it doesn't go away. The pain will not go away, and you'll find yourself with a greater problem, with greater pain and the consequences of you not facing that and creating addiction and then hurting more people in your path. So ultimately, the way back is the way home. The way back is the way into the heart. And there's beautiful, multiple modalities that support not just women. It's true that I did write that I'm helping women, but actually, this message is for everyone. Absolutely. I relate to what women went through as a woman, and only in that respect do I sometimes address women, my message to women, but it touches all lives that have been touched with trauma. And trauma, our parents come into this life with their own story, and it is embedded in trauma, and often transgenerational trauma. So they grew up in the family with their grandparents having issues. And today we know that this is interesting because I cannot remember the reference exactly, but the trauma will be, it's like a signature, a stamp in your DNA for 7 generations on. So when you're living a trauma, it's also the imprint of 7 generations of trauma. And that's interesting because there's a scripture in that effect as well when we talk about transgenerational. But what I'm trying to say is that you can decide that, for one thing, the trauma is real. And if you have trauma, it's because other people had pain before and they come with whatever they have. So trauma is not just something you learn in your family when you're growing up, but it's also something that actually leaves an imprint in your DNA. But all of this can be healed and all of it can be stopped. When we heal, we also heal 7 generations behind and 7 generations forth. It's powerful. When today I wasn't even going to go through this, but I think it's so powerful. The quantum physics defines life totally different. In life, we see things as linear. We have a calendar from the 1st to the 30th, and the day has 24 hours. But in the quantum field, everything is a field, and everything is a field, an ever-present field. So everything is existing here and now. So as you heal now, you're actually reverberating this healing in all space and time. And that's something we can sit with and meditate for hours when you think about it. It's huge. And the reason I'm mentioning that is because we're not fated by our destiny or by the upbringing that we had or the family in which we grew up. We're not fated by the circumstances that we've had to go through. I grew up in that family of loving individuals, but it was so dysfunctional. It really had me warped. And then I married a man, and that was a dysfunctional family. And unfortunately, my children have been exposed to that. And then we divorced. He committed suicide 9, 10 years later. That's another thing that impacts my children. And that has brought the family together closer. And then eventually, right now, has created an estrangement in the family. And this is one of my greatest challenges right now. It's a big one. It's a big one. It hurts deep, deep inside. And it's an invitation to love. It's an invitation to forgiveness. It's a constant, for me, recollection that we are here to love, we are here to heal, and that happens through forgiveness. Now, I was mentioning also the grieving process. And the reason they both exist, and it's very important, is that numbing our pain can happen through different ways. And sometimes people could do what we call spiritual bypassing. Excuse me. Yeah. And that's not spiritual bypassing is like everything is good, I'll forgive. But actually, what it feels like more is that I'm just repressing what I don't want to face because it hurts too much and I'm too afraid of it. And that too will like fester in the background. So there's beautiful modalities, healing modalities in I'm registered nurse. So in the working field, there are trauma informed cognitive behavioral therapies, there's somatic therapies. And what they do is that they enable us to be present. Often in trauma, we also dissociate. So we can't live a full life if part of me is here and part of me is there. And to bring that back together, you do want very skilled therapists in trauma. Do seek professional help if it's too difficult. You will reap the benefits. You will get to know yourself as a beautiful, wholesome being. And that part of you, the part that was hurting and the part that you healed, becomes your medicine to the world. It really becomes your gift. And I want this to be really a message of hope so that you may see your life as what you came here to learn and your abilities and strength and resources around you to help you grow beyond the limitations, beyond the pain, beyond the hurt. You're meant to really stand in your strength. You're meant to really hone into the wholeness of yourself. In the shadow work, and Raven was talking about that, in the shadow, there's also a gift. But
Yes.
the only access to the gift is going through the shadow. And it takes a lot of courage and you want support. There's also healing modalities, spiritual healers, and different practitioners that you want to consult and get the help. But as you dive into your shadow, you will come out, emerge into the light, into your gifts. And from there, you are whole and complete and ever expanding, basically.
Right. That part, right, Lorraine, and just the healing process of that, and the many layers of it. It's just I love that you brought well every bit of this up. It's just very crucial. It's very empowering. It's very enlightening. Not to mention that when we go through and we really face these shadows, that all of each and every one of us have, me as well. I went through some very traumatic things in my life, and due to domestic violence, my mother lost her life, and crossed over to for that. So I'm a very advocator, just to have the voice out, because the way it affected each and every one of us in so many different ways in my family and my siblings as well. And I've been through those things where we have just blamed, we've shamed each other, we have judged each other. We have had so much anger. We had jealousy. And it was so dysfunctional. It was so dysfunctional where, it was, alcoholism as well. And like you said, people unfortunately they're not connected. They're not connected to their body, back to their true selves. They don't even realize that they're not, because so much goes on in our external world, and so much, right? But when we do dive in to those shadows that we all, each and every one, and really dive into that, and that's showing up for yourself every single day. And it's not easy, absolutely. And like Lorraine said, you need that support. It's very crucial to have that support with who you feel comfortable with, who you feel vulnerable with, and safe with, that you are able to share your story and share your pain and share your trauma. It
Yeah.
has to be a safe container. And also with our shadow work, it is our light, is it not? It's our light, and it's okay. I want to really stress out there, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay to tell about your pain. We all have it, you know?
Yeah.
And there's a lot going out there. There's a lot that everybody is each and going, through their journey. And I'm being raw and vulnerable right now, and it's just coming up, but it is what it is. This new moon, and this is the year of the snake, and it's the number 9 year, and this is all about releasing and letting go. And literally, this year is going to teach us a lot to be resilient. It's going
Yeah.
to teach us to be more resilient, and it's we want to build community. We want to be seen, we want to be heard, we want to be acknowledged, and people do care. They do care, and I'm just telling you out there. That's why me and Lorraine are here. You can reach out to us as well, and we have it. We have so many healing modalities and so many different, sessions and things like that. But yes, and I wanted to ask you, Lorraine, like, when in your life journey did you had so many pivotal moments, right? So many milestones and things all the way through, and to brought you to where you are right now. Like, what on your journey may had you just like pivot and just say, I want to do this. I want to be a public speaker. I want to help assist. And maybe if I can get, just be that voice for one person. I just want to help and be there for and help them and let them know that there is hope. You can walk through this. You can heal through it. And you are not your trauma. You're not your personality, and nor are your actions.
Hmm. Yeah. Well, I've actually known for about 30 years that I'd be speaking. I actually saw myself on stage speaking to people. I didn't know where, I didn't know when, I didn't know how that would come to be, but I've known that, and I say I know it. It's something
Mhm.
that I keep seeing. It's like a film in my mind, and I see myself doing this, and it comes naturally, comes quite, yeah, spontaneously, basically. So, but it wasn't until very recently that I've kind of decided, you know what, I think it's time to do this. There has been, though, I think what I need, there was like in my walk things that needed to be done first, right? And,
Yeah,
and that's interesting because I grew up in a very religious household
same.
and I lived the religion very intensely and very like fervently.
Yeah,
And what that did for me, because it could be different from other people, but what it did for me is that it actually stripped me of my sovereignty. The power was out there and somebody else was telling me what was the right thing for me to do. And it's
yes,
only around the age of 37 that I decided, you know what, I need to put this on park and I need to find for myself who is. I didn't stop believing in a higher force or a higher source, God.
yes.
I didn't give that up, but all
Mhm.
of the wrapping around it, that I needed to put aside. And and I had a very interesting experience in 2003. We had just gotten divorced, and I
Mhm.
had put this aside for about a year or two. And a friend said, you might want to read this book. And it's a book, a spiritual book. And
Mhm.
I was reading it and it was resonating a lot with me. And I remember hearing, it's time to forgive, referring to my ex-husband. And I remember saying, I'm not ready. That would be inauthentic. I'd be lying because I'm still so angry. And there was just this silence. And then I heard again, it's time to forgive.
Wow.
And what I understood in that moment is, I guess I negotiated, right?
You're right.
That I don't feel that I'm ready to forgive, but I can't stop having um, unkind thoughts.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
I will start, really sending thoughts of love. And I said, "You, my higher self, you do the forgiving for me, and eventually I'll walk to that." And the next day, he was calling and asking if he could start seeing the kids again. So that's powerful. Our thoughts are powerful. Our intentions are very, very powerful, actually. And and again, so that was like one of the first periods. And in 2020, so I kept going deeper back and reconnecting with the spirituality and trying to find myself
Mhm.
in different approaches. I found yoga, and I was reading what people would consider the new age, but I think there's a lot of wisdom, and it's often connected to the ancient wisdom that we had.
Yes, the esoteric wisdom, right?
Yeah,
Absolutely. I very much we're both old souls, right? And it just is very much it just has such a resonance there, right? And it just resonates with us so much. And it's yes,
and
me too.
today, you have the beauty, Raven, is how metaphysics, what we used to call woo-woo esoteric, and we have
Right.
quantum physics that's explaining a lot of stuff, phenomenon that used to be believed to
Absolutely.
be spiritual and stuff. We're starting to explain because we have also all these brain scannings. We're starting to understand the power of meditation. We're starting to
Yes.
see how the brain goes into gamma waves, and then there's a whole download in the whole body, and the people are getting spontaneous healings. Well, that was through the exercise of meditation and coming to that brain frequency, bringing it, from the beta to the alpha,
To the
theta,
thing.
delta,
Yeah.
and finally into the gamma, right? And that
Yes.
it doesn't
Yes.
always happen in one shot. Sometimes it takes a lot of moments, but and now we're discovering like auric bodies. We're having devices today that can measure actually the electromagnetic field of the heart. We're starting to understand the coherences and the interconnectedness of everything. So it's really fascinating for me as a like registered nurse with a scientific mind and the
Mhm.
esoteric, how they are merging together and coming into one weaved tapestry. And that's fascinating. I just love it.
Oh my gosh, I got chills all over me because I resonate with that so well. I'm so into that field as well, right? Because it's like diving into our subconscious and quantum physics is my reality because it is right. I'm just I'm throwing it out there because it really is. But all the healing modalities that they have went and really with all this technology with the healing modalities, the meta beds, right? The med beds, the oh my gosh, the infrared,
Yeah.
what the sun can do, just sun gazing, I sun gaze, and just like you had said about when you told me about, when you and Source were having a discussion and things, and and they came through and said, it's time to forgive. And I so resonate with that as well because just the traumatic, situation that happened with my mother and her crossing over, she literally came to me and told me the same thing, and that was in '04 for me. So, and I had a 17-year-old sister that was 7 months pregnant at the time with her first child, and another sister that's 16, and a brother as well. And, that was the path that she chose. And, there was so many warning signs and so many things like that, but she literally came into my dream and that was just so powerful for me. We were so strong and had such a strong bond that telepathically, we always talked to each other telepathically. I would already know what she was thinking or saying. We didn't even have to speak. That's just the way we were.
Mm.
So therefore, that's how she came to me in my dream. There was no word spoken. There didn't have to be. That's why I'm laughing about it.
Yeah.
But literally, it was where we felt at home, and it was literally down the street where my grandma, our both of our, where our great grandmother where her house was, and how close me and her was, so close to our great grandmother. So therefore, she literally came to my dream, was on the road with the man that literally took her life and crossed over, right? But that was for her to tell me this was my life journey. This was my destiny. This is what I got out of it. My destiny. This is my life journey. I completed my soul contract.
Mm.
Forgive, let go. And what I had said telepathically, I had my youngest one was 3 years old at the time. And I'm like, what do I tell Colby, And she just looked at me, and that was it. And they went hand in hand, and I woke up. But I thanked her. I thanked her so much for bringing me that peace. I wasn't ready. No, not at all. But
Mhm.
taking that step, taking that breath, it's freedom. Right?
Mhm.
It's freedom. It's freedom to know that, hey, what they do and their actions is not going to have power over me.
Mhm.
I'm
That's
not going to
true.
live. I'm not going to live in this trauma. Yes, I have it. I have it. But how am I going to accept it? How am I going to process it? How am I going to heal it? How am I going to persevere through it? And how am I going to walk forward? For then on, I had so many questions. I always have since a child, very, very open and aware, and so many different star beings and things, and my guardians. And I'm very tapped into the angelic realm. But knowing these things, and just having, like you said, never, ever, ever, always trust in source.
Mhm.
Because I'm one with source and will always be one with source, no matter where I am, ever. And with that, having that knowing and having that firm belief can literally get you through your life journey and your life missions and all your turmoils and everything. It's called faith. It's
Yeah.
just faith. It's complete faith and complete trust that, hey, a lot of people has caved in. A lot of people can't show up for you, but guess what? You can show up for yourself.
Mhm.
And we all have disappointments that we're going to disappoint ourselves, but life is life, and it's always going to be lifing, and we're always going to have all these changes. And there's so many changes going on, like lightning speed, like you had brought up about the quantum, right? And I know when we dive in, because I work with this very extensively with clients all across the world, so much trauma, but also too, when we dive in, and it's this process, it's many sessions. But as we dive in and literally go through that shadow work and those inner child wounds, and we start uncovering layer by layer and really tap into that subconscious, that's when you really break into your quantum field. And like you had said, our thoughts are the most powerful. We literally do create our own reality. We
Mhm.
really do. That's how powerful we are. But once we align our mind, our body, our hearts, our soul, and everything, and literally get grounded in meditation, Tai Chi, Pilates, like I do, kettlebells. I, work out with kettlebells every single day. It helps me with my mentally, my physically, all of those things. When I feel overwhelmed or just feel so, is there enough time in the day? Yes, there is. But we also got to literally take that pause, and step back. And we need to allow ourselves that it's okay, and hold yourself in that space and give yourself that grace.
Mhm. Mhm.
Absolutely. I just think that's just such a very vital. And as far as each and every one of us, we all have, we all have those abandonment issues, right? We all feel, we went through them. Each and every one of us has these wounds. And the thing of it is, so many of the collective and so many of humanity is so detached from their own self, from their own. So how can they be uniting when they're so detached from their own self? And that's what they do. They escape. It's fear and escapism with food addiction, sex addictions, drug, alcohol, and it just becomes in such repetitive cycles that it's so hard to, and it's very intense, and it's very heartbreaking to even watch your own family go through it, or if you're going through it and what you're doing and how it's affecting, like you said, this next 7 generations and the 7 generations behind us.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. There was a lot there. When
Yeah.
when you So when we do go from the trauma, the wound, the shadow into, we dive into that, we do come out freer. It's interesting how we feel bound and we feel like we're really caught in circumstances and conditions that define us. But but the interesting thing is the more you face it with love and compassion, it first of all requires safety, of course, and you mentioned that it's paramount. And you start realizing that you can have the safety within, you can have the compassion for yourself within, you can have the love for yourself within, you can offer yourself all these gifts, and then you it really becomes like a chalice full of your own gifts and your own blessings in an overflowing cup. But every day, you're never really done with the shadow work.
That part.
Absolutely not, because
Yeah.
there's like a deeper layer to it. And people will say things, and your response is you can blame and be angry with them and externalize it, or you can shame yourself and then internalize that old wound, or you can take a neutral posture and look at it and say, that's interesting. Why is that so hurtful to me right now? What is it trying to teach me? What's the lesson here?
Yes.
And And like you said, to pause and to give yourself that time. Sometimes you'll need to journal. Sometimes you'll need to speak it out with a friend. Sometimes you'll need to work it through therapy or some healing modalities. But rather than just in the blame part, we tend to be aggressive and hurt other people by our words, by our deeds. And when we go into shame, we tend to collapse into loathing and depression, shame. We can find a middle ground, and it really is there. Life really becomes a mirror of how am I positioning myself right now? How have I believe too that we create our reality. So
Yes.
what are the thoughts that I've been cultivating? How did I contribute to this? And it could be his reality, just trying to reveal to you. But it's also and always in there's a loving reason why it's happening.
Mm-hmm.
You're not creating your reality to condemn yourself, to shame yourself. You're you're facing, it's like an invitation, it's a mirror. It's an invitation for you to love yourself one level deeper again. And for me, forgiveness, I like to remind myself, it's an opportunity for me to give myself more love, for giving me more love. It really is. Forgiveness is not so much about the other person, it's much more about ourselves.
That part, right? Absolutely. And that is so powerful. And it isn't about the other person. It's what's inside of you that you just can't release and let go. Right?
And there
Yeah,
will be freedom. Yeah, there will be freedom when we do.
so
It's amazing.
much.
And forgiveness doesn't condone other people's behavior. We're not saying we're okay with what happened or how it
Yeah,
happened. We're not saying that people deserved it. We're not even going there. Like forgiveness is really, I guess, understanding for me, understanding that the other person is doing hurt people will hurt people. And
that part.
if this person was in full consciousness, fully aware, they wouldn't be behaving like this, right? Just
Yes,
ask.
absolutely.
And it's a call to humility for myself, because I too had times said things that were offensive. I too at times, um, you know, didn't show up. Like I've done some not nice things too, if I'm really honest with myself. But today I can sit with myself and look at that and have love for myself. In the past, I would have felt shame, so I didn't want to go there. But today
Yeah.
I can see, yeah, this person is hurting, and that's their best response today. And I've
Yes.
done that too at times.
Yes, same here, right? And I love to use the heal modality. It's like you had said about like we're always going to be doing our shadow work and we're always going to be evolving, right? No matter where we're at. That's just a part of the journey, right? And it's not the destination, it is the journey. And I fully, fully believe in that. And when you had said, like we're not saying that no, it's not okay what has happened, but when you really release and just let go and just really, 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 truly, truly, truly forgive and just love, that's where that person was at that time. And no, maybe you cannot understand it or it cannot be justified. But as long as you forgive, it's so much freedom, like so much weight. You get 10 pounds lighter, the weight is off of your shoulders because you really have really come back home and you've accepted. It's acceptance. It's acceptance of what's happened. And so many blame themselves, like, if I could have did this, if I could have did that, or things like that, right? My own children went through that when my mother went, my middle son held it so long inside of him, and he was just 15 years old at the time when that happened, and now he's in his mid 30s, right? So yes, and he was scared. It scared him, and he's like, "Oh my gosh, if I would have answered the phone, mom," because he was on the phone at the time when she was trying to get a hold of us, no, and he went through so many years of not telling me, and one of his girlfriends had to tell me, and that just woo, as a mother, and I'm very much, my children are very important to me, absolutely. And I have grandchildren, so therefore, no, I sat him down, and he was in his 20s by then, when I did know, right? And I'm like, oh my gosh, you carried that within yourself that whole time? Like, and he's like, Mom, you're going through so much. Yes, I was, but you, sweetheart, should never hold that within. Nothing that anybody could have ever done would have ever changed what her destiny was to happen. So
Mhm.
therefore, you love it, you accept it. You might not love it at first, not at all. It was like a trauma, very much so. And the news, she was on every news station and things, and it happened right before Christmas. And it was just to get the voice out there, and there is help, and it isn't just women that go through this. This is a very much not a gender thing at all. Men go through so much shame, so much guilt, so much sexual violence as well that women do do as well. So, I'm just speaking as a voice of that because there's so many out there that men are just so they're ashamed and they're scared and they don't know where to go. And, and then us as women, we don't know how to understand it or what's even going on because they have been taught to keep it stuffed down. Don't show your emotions. If you cry, you're a wimp or you're whatever that is, but it's not. As a man and being vulnerable and showing those tears, a true woman that will hold you in that space, right? And see you for you. See you for the man that you truly, truly are when you're being vulnerable in that moment, because that's your strength. And you're literally coming back to yourself. They're literally coming back to themselves.
Mhm. Mhm.
Really witnessed a lot, and it's just brought me so much. That's why I have so much passion to do what I do. But like I said, there's so many layers to that as well, and it's one step at a time. It's one breath at a time. And no, it's not easy, but it's like you show up for yourself. And our mind loves to play tricks on us, right? And what does your heart say? It's okay. It's okay if you're detached from that. It's okay if you don't want to feel because it hurts so much. So you just shove things down.
Mhm.
It's
Mhm.
normal. We're human to do those things because we feel that nobody's going to understand, nobody's going to resonate, nobody even cares to even hear it, you
Yeah.
know. But yeah, there is people out there that really do want to hear it, and we are here for that. And we will hold those spaces. And this YouTube is a community out here. There's so many that's speakers out here all over this platform that are literally raising each other up. We're building community, and we're all like building it with unity, right? They all outside authority and things and such are teaching that we need to be warmongering and fear mongering at all times, and all this social media and things, and with this AI and all this technology, it's just going to ramp up more and more and more because it's quantum computing, and we are quantum having a human experience.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
we really are. And just being in the now, like you had mentioned before, like when we stop and we take those processes and we do what and show up for us and get that support that we vitally need. And it's so crucial. Yes, when we make those steps in that process, you will literally start to see all the things that come in perfect alignment and synchronicities that come in. You'll see angel numbers. You'll hear a song on the radio, or you'll be just driving. You'll have these aha moments, and it's like write that down, like you had stressed with your shadow work. Do that mirror work. I cannot stress enough how much mirror work just does so. I do that so much. The high five method from Mel Robbins. That audiobook is phenomenal. That
Mhm.
showing up for yourself, looking at yourself in the mirror every day and say, I love you. I'm going to pat myself on the back. I'm proud of you. And I like to practice also too the Ho'oponopono. The
Yes.
Ho'oponopono is so, so powerful. And I really work with the violet flame so much. But the Ho'oponopono, I love you. I apologize. I'm sorry. Please forgive me.
Yeah.
I love you. I'm sorry. I apologize. Please forgive me. You say that to yourself and you say that to others. You don't have to say it physically or verbally. You can do it telepathically. You can write, whoever a letter. You don't have to give it to them. If you don't feel like give it to them, you can have a ceremony, light a candle, have some essential oils, have a fire pit, burn it. It's so much healing and so much releasing. And yeah, what do you feel about that?
Hmm. Totally. So now you're introducing some practices that can really support us, and I do love the open. Yeah, definitely very, very powerful. And yes, we do. Most of us have a very critical part of us, and if we're unaware of it, that critical dialogue in your mind can really run the show. And it's really learning to turn that around into words of love, words of grace, words of acceptance, of appreciation, of nurture. So we create that internal space where I can come to myself and I can say, I love you. Self
Yeah.
soothing, right? This is an amazing self soothing practice. The
Yes.
havening practice is a very good for um, dysregulated nervous system to regulate them. So when we're having stress, you can just do this actually. And this has been demonstrated. Dr. Rudin actually
Mhm.
did some imagery and was wondering, are there any parts on the body that are very specifically appeasing for the nervous system? So they
Mhm.
scanned the whole body and they found three areas. And I'd like to share that. Are you okay
Yes,
with?
please. Absolutely.
So the first one are the hands. And when you rub your hands like that, you're actually soothing and regulating your nervous system.
Hmm.
You're also balancing your hormonal system. And you're going from cortisol stress response to endorphins, the parasympathetic system. So rest and restore, endorphins, serotonin, dopamine. The second one is from the shoulders down to the elbows. And it's like giving yourself a great big hug, right? And you
Yes, absolutely.
and you can have the open or you can have just beautiful words like you're saying, I've got your back and I love you. I'm here for you no matter what. I won't let you down.
Yeah.
That that's very soothing. So if you're having like a really hard day, you're just frustrated or you're just hurt, stop, take 3 breaths and start doing this. You'll see, like within a minute or two, you'll feel much better. They started doing this in classrooms with children that had ADHD and children that had like challenges in their school curriculum.
Yes.
And within one session, so they started doing this in September, and these kids had like, they were behind everybody else, okay? But
Hmm.
by the time they got to December, they had caught up because
Wow.
they were able to regulate. So when your nervous system is dysregulated, the part of the mind that's called the amygdala is triggered and it goes into fight and flight. So all of the juices and the blood that should be going to your prefrontal cortex, which is one that analyzes and learns and takes in information, is not being irrigated with blood. Therefore, you can't really concentrate and learn because you're in fight and flight. So when you're
Exactly.
doing this, you're moving out of fight and flight and you're moving into regulation. So you start feeling calm, and now you can sit and study and focus and concentrate and learn. The third part is here, rubbing your face across the hairline. Think about it. When our little ones come and
Yes.
they hurt themselves and they come crying, what do? We caress their face. You can do this on the cheeks
True.
as well. You can do it like that. So all of this, and you tell yourself while you're doing it, I've got your back. You're okay. Thank you so
Yeah.
much for coming home to you. I'm here for you. I won't drop you. I won't abandon you. I love you. I'm here for you. I'm here for you. So now you understand why when people used to do the prayer mantra, why it was so powerful. There's
Mhm.
also all the meridians in the hands
Yes.
coming together. So you're balancing your left and right brain. You're coming into the neutral mind. You're balancing your hormonal system and you're getting into a place of peace so that you can receive intuition, right? And this is now proven by science.
I know.
It's cool. It's amazing.
So cool. It's a beyond amazing. It's so many things when I really come into my awakening, right? And it was literally 11:11. I was on the treadmill, and this was back in '08. Literally 11:11 a.m. in the morning, and I was just minding my biz, on the iPod back then. You know what I mean? And I literally heard Source, and had me, I was kept walking. Was running still on the treadmill, but I kept my vision on that 11:11 for the whole 60 seconds. And I like, what in the world just happened?
Mm,
Because I heard them say just what you said. The right, that's how they were telling me. The right and the left hemisphere, walk through the pillars. That's what they were telling me. Walk through. So I'm like, what in the world just happened? I got off that treadmill. I went straight to my computer. I'm like, what in the world? So I started looking that up. And when I did, I'm like, holy moly, it just started answering my everything that I was literally searching for, or asking for. I got like a download in that one split. I'm like, holy moly. So then, therefore, I went into, numerology. I had to know about all the the angel numbers and numerology. And then I got my certificate, a realm reader, angelic realm reading through Doreen Virtue, and was on Hay House. And I read through Journey Through the Soul through Lisa Williams, because I needed to know what the journey through the soul was when that did happen to my mother. We, even after they cross over, they go through so much as a journey of the soul, just to go through the levels that they have to go through as well.
yeah.
So with their life contract finished here, they just got initiated and out of the physical realm. They have a higher calling and a higher purpose. They fulfilled their contract here. And yes, it hurts because we're living in this physical, in this physical vessel, but they're always there. They're always around you, and they will always be. Like, people say the spiritual realm, Raven's always there, and we all are. We all are. We just, some of us are not so aware of it, but it's not up there. It literally is just right here. Like, it
Yeah.
literally is right here. And that's the quantum field, right? And
Mhm.
when you come back to yourself and bring in the left hemisphere and the right hemisphere and neutralize it, like you said, that's literally coming back out of from your mind and back down to your heart, down to your center, to to the center of Mother Gaia, to Mother Earth, right?
Yeah.
And it's just those healing modalities. But there's so much out there, and so many breakthroughs that in my journey, so many, years ago, when that happened for me, it's like, Source was like, we're ascending. I'm like, okay, ascension. And like you had said, and I'm like, okay, well, let's talk. Let's see what this is all about. And I too grew up with dogma, religion dogma, with Seventh-day Adventists and such, that I had to, deprogram that
Yeah.
dogma as well. And that was layers and layers, and just going research and studying all of those things, and bring me back to full center. Though it was just bring me back to its source,
Mhm. And
fractals, of
yeah,
that. Yes.
and it's fascinating because so all the ancient practices, we're coming
Yes.
to understand them in the light now of science, and we're starting to see the wisdom behind it. And that's thanks to like the evolution, right? The quickening of the
Yeah.
scientific discoveries and all of the quantum and everything. And as we progress, there's kind of like an opening. It's easier, I feel like saying, it's easier today more so than ever to really awaken into who you're meant to be. It really is. It truly is. It's like the veil that separated us from this third dimension to our higher self, that veil is becoming translucent, basically. So we have
Yes.
greater direct connection to our source,
Yes.
to the divine self, to
Hmm.
the angels and guides, depending on the people. And there's so many more people. It's creating also, so from a collective point of view, individually, that's what's happening for me. But at the same time, in the collective, there's more and more people gathering. So there's a momentum as well happening. And of course, if there are great challenges to be faced, there's also great resources. It would not make sense otherwise, would it?
No,
You
not
would
at all.
you wouldn't be subject to so much that would crush you. It never has been. So if there's great challenge in your life, it's also because there's great resources there to help you. And there's resources meaning like practices like we did, and people and healing modalities on this realm, but in other realms, it's learning how to access these resources and starting to put them in practice in your life. And
That part, right? Yes.
I want to finish with this message of hope because we're not alone individually. We're not alone as a collective. We're not alone as a humanity. We really are supported. We are. It doesn't always feel that way. Some days are really tough. But all in all, as you start working through this process, you will really start building this deep core, a solid core, and a good foundation on which you can rely. And from there, you'll be able to just, expand and grow and shoot up with your gifts.
That part, right? You literally will spiral up and with your true innate abilities, right? And each and every one of us are on our own individual paths. But like you said, even with the collective, we really are coming together because most of us that are on this journey and knowing and trusting in that journey and being and knowing that we're always a part of Source and will always be one with Source is just literally showing us like once you take off those rose colored glasses of illusionment, because being here in this hologram and the stimulation, so much is illusion, right? And it's like you got to really have practice your own discernment and your own innate wisdom to say what is real here for me and what truly isn't real for me,
Yeah.
you know. So
And if something works for somebody else, it doesn't
that
have to
part,
be right
yeah.
or wrong. Actually, it's not right or wrong. It's just that discernment is what do I need here in this moment, in this season of my life. There's things
Yes.
that were really good for me 5, 10 years ago, but that just don't apply anymore. And it's not that they don't serve or they're not okay. It's that I've moved to another level.
Yes.
And I'm invited to embrace another new aspect or dimension, and that's great.
That's awesome. Like also too, like the universe, like they okay, with the law of attraction, right? But if we don't, because there's a code, it's a frequency, like the quantum field, and it literally is. And that's when we're talking about manifestations and things, like it's like you match that frequency of that code to the universe, because the universe, there is no wrong or right in the universe, right? It just is. And so many want to blame God. Like, why is this happening to me? Life isn't happening to you, it's happening for you.
Yeah,
It's happening
definitely.
for us. And I know in the heat of the moment, we don't even want to think of that at all. Like all our rationality just goes straight out the door. But with these healing modalities and with these spiritual tools that we all, each and every one of us has, that we were born into, coming through our mother's womb and coming here into this physical realm, You just got to tap into them. And just like you said, 5 or 6 years ago, things don't resonate with you anymore. They don't resonate with me 2 weeks ago, but things did anymore for me. So yeah, it just is. Once you're, so many things change, you evolve, you grow, and it's totally okay. And it's not a competition. It's not a race. Like I said, it's the journey of it all. We're here to sing, dance, express. We are our soul expression, and we are spirit. Spirit is always around us. And I know we do feel alone at times, absolutely, but we're never, never alone. We have so many powerful beings in so many different dimensions, and a lot right now. We're in the fourth dimension, with all these wars and things, and scarcity, and just so many things that are going on right now that is literally all across the world in so many different cultures and so many different age brackets. And a lot of suicidal rates are up with the younger generation and things, and they are our future. And
Yeah.
they know they're looking at us adults like, what in the world has gone on here? Like, this is not. So yes, they're literally coming into right now, literally they have been for the last few years. These are the rainbow warriors, and we're the bridge, are we not? And they're our future. Our grandchildren are our future. Our great grandchildren are their future. And we want to make this a wholesome, happy, beautiful, freeing, loving yourself, and just be who you authentically raw self, and be safe enough to do so.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. There is hope out there. Totally.
There's so much hope, right, Lorraine? Right, Lorraine?
Yeah, totally. Thank
Yes.
you so much.
Thank you so much, Lorraine. And how would you like to close? And what would you like to share with our final message out there to the audience when they
Hmm.
come back to the replay?
You know, life is precious, and you've been bestowed a beautiful gift. And I know that in the dark moments of our lives, we may not see it as a gift, but please always remember that you are precious. You're a precious individual invested with the gift of life, and there's so much potential in you. And by receiving the love and the care of others, the support that you need if you're going through really challenging times, it's not going to be like that all the time. It's like a season. It can be a season that's hard, but there's a time to sow and there's a time to harvest. You will harvest the fruits of your labor, and the consequences of all that hard work that you're going to do. You will reap all the beauty, the grace, the freedom, and that's my greatest wish to you, that you get to know yourself as a beautiful person that you are, this angelic being in human form. Yeah.
And if people out there, if they would like to contact you and literally want to tap into your wisdom and have a session with you, how would they be able to get contact with you? And you literally can write it out here in the chat, and people that come through, they literally can and see it out there and reach out to you as well. And then I'm going to down in the description too as well, though.
Perfect. So I have a site called discoveryourdreamjob.ca. That's one aspect where I help people find their career when they're at crossroads. But it's basically transforming your current condition into a career that you want. This applies to your relationships when you're going through difficult moments. So transforming what's going on into the relationship of your dreams, and that can be applied to any aspect of your life that you want to drop into. So basically, discoveryourdreamjob.ca. You can book a free call, and I'll gladly just hear what you have to say, support you, and offer you some of the services that I have, or refer you to resources that I feel would best fit you. So yeah, don't hesitate to reach out. I'd love to see you and hear from you. Yeah, that'd be amazing.
Right. And you want to shout out to the group that you facilitate as well, this powerful group that you have events on Eventbrite too as well. Would you like to shout that out?
Yeah, so today, if you go to Eventbrite, I have an event called Now's the Time to set powerful intentions for a successful 2025. So if you write intention 2025 in the event, you'll see there's an event today at 4 o'clock Eastern time. It's a free event. And I love to teach the practices that I've learned over the years. So we'll talk a little bit about intention, but then we'll dive in and journal on setting an intention. But I'll walk you through 3 different practices where you're going to go deeper and deeper and deeper and really own what you want for 2025 with the new year of the serpent and the new moon that just came about. Now's the time to see that powerful intention. So yeah, join on. Like I gladly see you. Yeah.
Oh, that is so awesome. That is so exciting, right? I just had discussed the other night on YouTube as well about the new moon and how this, so much transformation with Aquarius and Pluto, and it's all being our, and making those initiatives and being that rebellious self and not go against the status quo and things, and just be your raw, pure, authentic self, and just bring in those new moon manifestations as well, and those new moon wishes, right? That's
Yeah.
so beautiful. I love it. I love it. Okay, everyone. With that, I guess we will close, and I will see you very soon. And always remember out there, guys. Always remember. I love each and every one of you. You guys are each and every one of you are beautiful souls. And always remember to trust in yourself, honor yourself, love yourself, and you got this. You got this. If you want to quit your job, if you want to quit corporate, or you want to roll out some new projects and things, just trust in yourself to do so. We have so many gifts out here and so many tools and so many resources that it's literally in the palm of our hands. So expand on those resources, dive into them, know more about yourself, learn yourself, love yourself, play with yourself, and dance and sing. And with that, with everybody, love-a-stay and namaste. And we will see you soon.
Bye.
Bye-bye now.